Welcome to the Party Wagon Podcast, where we talk all things TMNT, past, present, and future. I'm your host, Eric, from the YouTube channel No You Grow Up.
And I'm Brendan from the YouTube channel Brendan's Rambles. And there's a third YouTube channel worth mentioning now because we've put the Party Wagon Podcast on its own YouTube channel because there was a lot of podcasts showing up on our channels, and I don't think everyone was here for the podcasts on those channels. So I think it will be better for the podcast to have its own designated channel so there's not other videos unrelated to turtles in the clutter. And I think it'll be better for our own channels because people who get sick of seeing those podcasts show up every other week are like not going to drop out anymore. So yes, just look for the Party Wagon Podcast on YouTube and you should find the little logo in the middle of the screen.
Yeah, so we ended up moving all of our videos over there. So the YouTube version will go there now instead of both of our channels. And it is just better to just get it consolidated in one place. And it really does mess with my analytics too, because you do longer videos, but not even usually 2-hour videos. Yeah. So it definitely makes it think your average playtime is way off. But yeah, we have a shit ton of stuff to talk about this week. Like some weeks we're literally scraping the bottom of the barrel for news. And this week it's all news pretty much. And there's a ton of it. So starting things off with Mutant Mayhem. So it officially got announced that they are going to do a second movie, and it looks like they got approved for 2 seasons. That I think they're going to play on Paramount Plus by the looks of it.
Okay, that's good because if it was Netflix, then that would mean 3 seasons because they'd cut the first season into 2, which they love doing for some reason.
Right. Like, I feel like if they're putting this much faith into it, like this movie's got to be good. Like there's no way they could be this like ignorant to what's going on. I feel like we've said before, the hype is just real on this. I feel like they're realizing how much merchandise they can move right now. And I feel like they're just really realizing that this is an absolute cash cow and this is the time to cash in. There will probably never be a better time right now to try to put Turtles back on the map.
Probably. I think so. Admittedly, I'm a little worried by how much they're diving into the whole cinematic universe thing that everyone does of like, you gotta have 5 million different TV shows and movies that all sync up. And the thing that I worry about a little bit is, will they be able to keep a consistent tone and style across all of that? Because you look back at any film version of the Turtles and from sequel to sequel, they're drastically different. Where like the 1991 and Secret of the Ooze are not on the same page. Most people don't even feel like they're the same world. Turtles 3 is totally different. Even like 2014 and Out of the Shadows is so much more cartoony and goofy. And, when you're getting new directors for each project and everything, like will the TV shows that are supposed to be, I guess, essential viewing to understand the second movie, will that be on the same caliber, the same style as the movie, or will it feel like a totally different product? I think is something I'm a little worried about.
So the only hope that I have that it could be on the same consistency is like, I would say that like the first season of The Mandalorian production wise, that was almost just as good as anything that was in the theaters. You know what I mean? Like, yeah. I feel like when people are sinking all of this effort into these series, like they're just putting a little bit more into it than what they've done in the past when stuff's gone to TV. But the thing that I guarantee is going to be a problem is keeping this voice cast. So like, I don't think all of these awesome characters will be able to be in the entire show and in the next movie even, because that's a lot of, I mean, I would say from A to C tier voice actors that are doing this, or actors or actresses, whatever you want to say. And I just, that's what worries me the most is I feel like we're going to see a lot of voice changes, or all these awesome characters that they introduce aren't really going to be around in the series.
That could happen. Or even just something as simple as, even if it is the same director working on every movie and every series or something, which I'm sure it won't, but even if it is, like, will his style and his idea of what he wants to make as a Turtles product change in that time? Because that can happen a lot now where, like the same team works on it. I think a great example is the same team worked on Wreck-It Ralph and Ralph Breaks the Internet. And Wreck-It Ralph, I think, is a masterpiece. Ralph Breaks the Internet, I think, is one of the biggest pieces of shit that Disney's ever made. And like they don't even remember like the character development and the plots and the themes of the first movie. They ignore the first movie even happened pretty much in the sequel. So it feels like someone who didn't even really watch the first movie made the sequel, but it just shows how much people change over time. So, you know, back in the day, if they made a cartoon show for a kid's movie, like, or not a kid's movie, but for a movie, like Beetlejuice had a cartoon show, not at all related to the movie. Ghostbusters, not at all related to the movie. Ace Ventura and Dumb and Dumber and all that shit, like, not at all related to the movie. Like, it's its own sub universe. But now it's like, I like for the Sonic movies, they have like a Knuckles show going to streaming and stuff, and it's like, even like the Batman, they wanted to do like a Penguin spin-off show and all this shit, and it just creates like so much stuff you have to watch, and such a better chance of them screwing up the synergy, I think, between the products. And I just want good movies. I don't care if they connect into this big web of crazy stuff. Like, I just want good movies, I guess. And I guess I'm a little worried that they're taking on an order that's too big for their own britches. I don't know.
Yeah, especially, and again, I just don't want them to be like rushed with it and be like, okay, we got to cash in on this cash cow right now. And they don't take, because this movie has been in development forever. I mean, how long ago did we see that first tease? And that was when they probably had a lot done at that time based off that tease. So it could go either way. But again, we still haven't even seen this movie. I don't think it's going to flop. I don't think it's going to be terrible. Now that we're week away, I think
a week from today.
Yeah, week away. We're going to be seeing this movie. I did get my tickets for opening night. I was the second person to get them for the theater I got it in. I got it like 6 a.m. that morning, like whenever they went up. So I just really want to get that collector cup. I'm really, really, really hoping a bunch of people didn't go there and try to get them before the movie started.
Yeah, that's like seeing the movies. Like, yeah, that's whatever. I just want that fucking cup. Like,
so bad. But no, I am very excited to see it. And I just, like I said, the closer we get, the more excited I get. And I'm very, very, very excited for next Wednesday now.
Yeah, I mean, just like how this week is basically going to be all news, in 2 weeks, it's going to be like no news, because the whole cast is just going to be our review of the movie. Yeah. So I guess you'll stock, unless some crazy shit gets announced in between then. But as of right now, I feel like this is going to be your news fix, because we're going to go over everything at San Diego Comic-Con. And next time it's going to be no news. It's going to be straight to, the main topic. But speaking of San Diego Comic-Con and the movie, we got some Mutant Mayhem stuff showed off at San Diego Comic-Con.
Yeah, so they have, and these were announced a while ago, so these weren't like a reveal or anything, but they have more premium figures from the Mutant Mayhem line. They have a better deco. They have a cool box they come in, and I think they sell for $30 a pop, if I'm not mistaken. So
I think so.
Yeah, definitely a big increase from the $9.99 price point of the regular figures, which I don't think we've talked about this at all. Pretty cool that they stayed at a $9.99 price point for brand new retooled figures. I haven't opened up. I did get the 4-pack of the retro style Disguise Turtles. I'm going to keep it probably in package, just because that'll be like my one collectible from this movie. I don't think I'm going to get any of the other figures or anything. And right. I heard that they don't feel like they're the best quality figures. But again, $9.99 price point this day and age, that is a huge win.
That's crazy. Especially when you consider, I mean, they're not going to have like, NECA style articulation, but they have more articulation than the vintage figures. Yeah. So the vintage figures are going for $9.99, $10.99 some places. So yeah, it's pretty impressive they were able to do $9.99.
Yeah, so I'm not going to go in on these more premium figures anyway, because we are just being flooded with stuff right now. So it's not even just, it's every company, I feel like, that has a Turtles license other than Super 7 is kind of going balls to the wall right now. So on top of the Playmate stuff, another one of the smaller companies, it's really been stepping up their game, and it's still probably not enough to get me into it, because more so than anything, financially, I just can't afford to collect everything Turtles anymore. But the BSTN AXN figures,
best action,
best action figures, the Loyal Subjects figures, whatever the hell it is, they are really going in on the IDW Turtles. They have like 2 or 3 different variations that they're already giving us right now. And they had a Comic-Con exclusives that were the black and white with the colored headbands. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah,
what the exclusives were for that. Yeah.
put out the list of the characters they're going to do, and it's going crazy. There's like a Jenica figure on the way. There's an Alopex figure on the way, and it's like they're just going all in on it. I was surprised Hob wasn't on there actually, but yeah, they're just going all in on that line. Slash is getting a figure, and like Bebop and Rocksteady are getting figures, and it's going to be interesting to see what they do with it, because this is the first time anyone's ever done IDW comic figures, and not counting the Ronin. Yeah, they're going all in. They're kind of going to be like the primary supplier of those characters until NECA runs out of other sublines, and they're like, yeah, let's do IDW now.
Right.
So,
yeah, so I think that this company is incredibly smart for doing what they're doing. So they are doing like the cartoon style turtles, and they've done video game style turtles, but they really are leaning into these IDW figures hard because nobody else is doing them. It is such a genius move when you're definitely the underdog company for sure. And again, they're not on par with NECA or Super 7. They are definitely a cheaper figure, but I feel like they're increasing with quality as they go along. Like I feel like the figures they're doing now look leaps and bounds better than the figures they started with, and just making figures that NECA or Super 7 isn't making is gonna put people's eyes on them a lot more, because people really want IDW figures. And I'm gonna be honest, I'm a little bit indifferent on them because I like the way they look in the comics, but to me, it just doesn't transfer greatly into action figure form. And I don't know why. Maybe it is just because we haven't seen a company like NECA do them. But I mean, it's like I said, I think they look objectively good, but it's still not enough to get me in on them.
I'm definitely not getting them because I just don't read. I don't read IDW and stuff. I'm not crazy about those designs. I don't hate them, but it's like, for me, it's like I got enough freaking turtles standing around in my room. I don't need any more, especially for like versions I don't necessarily follow. So for me, it's an easy pass. But yeah, I'm just happy to see that people are getting them, because the IDW comics, like whether you like them, whether you love them, whether you hate them, they've been pumping those things out for freaking years now, and it has a dedicated following. And I hate to say it, but for a comic company that's been on the verge of bankruptcy for a few years now, it's really nice to try to keep this line going as hard as we can, because we don't know how much longer this comic can even come out with how poorly IDW has been doing. But
yeah, so they actually just lost G.I. Joe and Transformers. Okay, did we talk about this? I can't remember.
I don't remember.
Okay, yeah. So they lost G.I. Joe and Transformers, which is two huge IPs for them. So Turtles is literally keeping them afloat. And I do buy all the Turtle books that come out. And I mean, we've talked about this before. There's so many Turtles miniseries and subline comics and crossovers going right now, because that is what's keeping IDW alive. And it is, I mean, they're coming up on 150 issues here soon. I think I just got 142. So that's a pretty strong comic run. When you break 100 this day and age, it doesn't even happen anymore, because companies are just obsessed with number ones and putting out miniseries and as many number ones as they can put out, which is definitely something that's not been good for the industry as a whole. Maybe better for people selling comics because they are moving more, but it's just, like I said, there's not a lot of series that are going that have gone as long and told as long of the story as the IDW Turtles have.
Yeah, for sure. I think IDW Turtles, I mean, again, like how we say with Mutant Mayhem, like we think this is getting pushed more than any kids movie. I probably think it's one of the biggest comic franchises right now, just because it's one of the ones that, even though I don't follow it, I keep my eye on it more than others because it's Turtles. But I do think it's definitely what's keeping IDW afloat. I think after that, maybe Sonic. They're basically Archie, what Archie was in the 90s. Like they're Turtles and Sonic. But I hear the most people saying, like, even people when I hear them like shitting on IDW and saying they make terrible books, they'll always say like, but the Turtles are good. Like everyone always seems to say Turtles are good. Even though I know there's a lot of parts people don't like they said, they were before Armageddon game, it was kind of turning into like a mutant city soap opera and stuff. But
so it's very funny, and I picked back up at Armageddon game, and I read the collected editions up through the first 4 collected editions, so I do have that gap there. But the way people talk about it, the community is just very split. Some people like what went on from 50 to 100. Some people hated it, and then vice versa. Some people loved what's gone on from 100 to where we are now, and some people have hated it. So it's a very split community, which Turtles, let's be real, is a very a very divisive community to begin with. You have your old school people that only like the old stuff, hate everything new, and then you have your other people that just love everything Turtles no matter how good it is. So
Yeah.
we
Well,
are very
you also have the younger Turtles fans who are like they're like kind of like sour towards the old fans because they're sick of hearing about how great old Turtles was. Just look through the comments on my review of the Rise of the TMNT Netflix movie video that I have on my channel. There's so many people like, did you even watch the show? You don't know what you're talking about and all this shit. It's like, dude, I said right in the video, I only watched a few episodes. Like, just go easy on me, please.
so okay. I don't want to get any hate drawn towards us, but the very small diehard community for that show is very, very, very about it, and it's very weird to me because it does just make me feel old because I'm just like, I don't get it. You know what I mean? Like, I don't get why these kids love this stuff so much.
You can love whatever you love. I mean, I loved Clay Fighter 2 on the Super Nintendo growing up, and most people don't even know they made a Clay Fighter 2. But like, you can love whatever you want to love. I'm not saying you can't. And it's like, but I almost feel like some people like Rise as much as they do just to overcompensate for how unsuccessful it was. Like,
Yeah.
they like it a little and they feel bad that it wasn't huge. So they like attack people with how much they love it. It's like, it's overcompensating. I think it's like, yes, it's a good show. And I feel like I've actually only ever complimented it, but people still get mad at me. They're like, you're not a real Rise fan. It's like, I'm not, I'm a casual. I don't know. I'm a filthy casual. I don't know. And even like for the episodes I did see, like I can't remember everything that happened, and I'm like, there's so much shit in this stupid old head of mine, like so many dumb like comics and cartoons and movies and stuff I'm trying to keep track of in my head. It's like I can't remember everything at this point.
Yeah. Sticking in the IDW realm here, IDW has made some announcements too, so they're gonna run a second series to The Last Ronin, and it's gonna pick up where it left off by the looks of it, but by the cover I'm a little confused what's going on because I can't tell if it is the new Turtles that they've announced or if it's the old ones or what's really going on here.
It's been confirmed, I believe, that it's the new Turtles.
Okay.
So it's a jump forward in time because they're all teenagers in the cover. They're not like little babies anymore. It kind of just seems like the Lost Years was like this little weird bridge mini series to connect the two Last Ronin series, kind of. So because they're just calling this like the Last Ronin 2, I believe.
Evolution, I think, is what the subtitle is, which makes sense because if it is these new Turtles, then that makes a lot of sense. The only thing that threw me off, because the one that has the very specific markings on it, that's the one that kind of made me think that it is these new Turtles. But why would they make one of them like black ninja'd out look so much cooler than the other ones?
I don't know. Yeah, I don't really know why. But I have heard that it is a new generation of Turtles, that it is going to be about the new Turtles. So yeah, that's coming. I mean, I haven't been following the Lost Years, even though I love the Last Ronin. I haven't followed the Lost Years. I don't know anything about these Turtles yet, really. Like I don't love them yet, so I'll see. But yeah, I'm interested. I'm happy they're making more with the Last Ronin because that was such a big hit. It would be such a shame to just like leave it alone and never touch it again.
Yeah, I actually very behind in my comic reading right now. So I think I have 3 and 4. I can't remember if 4 just hit this week. I can't remember. Like I said, I'm really behind on stuff. And then they also did a Lost Years special as well.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So I haven't read that either, but I'll fill you in on that stuff. But they really are just using that as like the explanation for the time skip and then filling in the blanks from what happened after all the Turtles died and Michelangelo kind of went off to his own to where the Last Ronin started. I feel like it's going to literally end where it started with him, and then it'll probably end in the future with where the Turtles are going to start in the Last Ronin 2 would be my guess on what's going to happen now.
Probably. It's more or less like a housekeeping comic series. Like it's just to clean up all the loose ends of the last one and the next one. Like get you up to speed with everything.
Yeah, but I'm really excited for this second series because I'm not gonna lie, the first couple issues of the Lost Years, they've been okay, but I mean, I don't know. It's just the last Ronin was a lot better series, so I'm really hoping the second series is on that same caliber. And it'll be interesting to see what the villain's gonna be because they already took out Oroko Hiroto. Karai's pretty much dead. Like, I mean, she's literally
Yeah.
like comatose. So it'll be interesting to see what they do for a villain in that.
Yeah, Baxter Stockman's dead too. So
Oh yeah.
yeah, I don't know. I don't know what the hell they're gonna do for a villain. Maybe some Triceratons will show up or something, but we'll have to see.
Yeah, and then just another real cool IDW book, one that I did read because I was just very excited. I got the annual in. There's going to be spoilers here for anyone that hasn't. I know you don't care because you don't read the books, but anybody else, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. So it's basically like this story where a futuristic Raph comes back and he's sent to come back to kill Donatello because
What?
apparently one of his inventions is like the downfall of humanity in the future, and it's kind of a cool book. I'm not gonna lie, I
Oh,
kind
yeah?
of liked it a lot.
That's a pretty crazy idea that like he has to kill his own brother because he knows like he's gonna ruin the world essentially. You think can he just go back in time and tell Don not to make it? Does he have to
Nope,
murder
had
him?
to kill him. Had to kill him.
Because even in Terminator 2, they weren't gonna kill the dude who like invented Skynet. Like that just happened by mistake. But
In Terminator 2?
in Terminator 2, they go to his
Oh,
lab
because he
to
just gets
destroy it.
shot up. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
And he ends up like sacrificing himself. But like, yeah, they didn't go like Arnold didn't go back like we have to murder this guy. Like it just kind of worked out that way. So. But yeah, I guess like Raph's no, I must murder my brother and save
Yeah,
humanity.
regardless, it made for pretty good reading.
Cool. That's good. It's cool to get like little weird offshoot what if stories like that.
It is, and because I don't think this plays because it didn't even have Jenica in it, so I'm assuming it's like is like a complete different universe type of situation. I could be wrong.
Maybe Jenica died also.
Right? Yeah. She's the one that should have came back and killed. Switching gears back to the Comic-Con stuff, though. So Super 7, out of all the companies, definitely had the lightest showing. So they showed off the figures from Wave 8. So we definitely probably are going to get those around the August time frame, which I'm not going to lie, they look pretty good. I'm pretty excited to get those figures. And they showed off the Turtle Van, which I have no FOMO on this one. I don't think any amount of anything is ever going to get me to pay $500 for that thing. And honestly, the retooled version doesn't look that much different to me.
Yeah, I didn't really notice what the hell the differences were. Like they keep talking about like, oh, we've been retooled. They retooled it like 3 fucking times now, and it's like,
Yeah.
It looks like those first prototypes you show off. I'm not really noticing the differences other than the fact that it's not painted and finished. Yeah, it's also just fucking massive. Like it's humongous, and like you could make that into a coffee table if you wanted to. The thing is huge, and like I don't know. I don't have room for it. I definitely do not have $5,000 to spend on it. I don't know. I like I said, I love the Super 7 figures. It's a small line. It's easy to collect, but I'm not getting that Turtle Van.
No, and for me, it's not even that like I think it looks bad or anything. That is too rich for my blood. I don't think I can cross that threshold in my life yet. I'm just not there for one thing.
Yeah, me too. Like, yes, technically, could I buy it? Yes. Would it be a huge setback? Yes. Do I need it? Not at all. Like, I don't need it at all. I still want to get back to the vintage party wagon, which I actually have sentimental attachment to, which I don't have one anymore. It's like, I still want to get that back, let alone like buying a giant, ridiculous deluxe version of it that costs as much as a used car. Like I don't need that. So for me, I will say, yeah, Wave 8 looks good. Something about Robotic Rocksteady, it just isn't doing it for me. I don't think he looks that good. And it is a huge shame because they just at the same San Diego Comic-Con showed off vac metalized versions of the Silverhawks figures. So it can be done with Ultimates. And that was really the draw for Robotic Bebop and Rocksteady in the vintage toy line. So now when they're not vac metalized, not only will that just look shitty because you know they're not what they should be, but that also probably means that in Wave 11 and 12, we're going to get vac metalized versions of them.
Oh, man. You're right. They probably are going to do that. And now I'm wondering, because for the promo pics for the Warrior Michelangelo, he almost looks back metalized. I mean, I think
Almost,
they
yeah.
might be digital renders, so maybe we don't know. But the funniest thing about this is when people were pissed off that the Silverhawks weren't back metalized. Brian Flynn was like, nobody can do it. Nobody can do back metalized figures. And then after that, Mattel just started slapping it on all their He-Man figures, like literally right after that. So
Yeah.
really weird that all of a sudden magically they can get back metal.
Yeah. It is weird too. 'Cause I got what he was saying because, in an old figure like Chrome Dome, say for instance, all the vac metalized parts of him don't have they aren't rubbing joints or anything. It's like a solid casing, like his chest or his head or like the wing panels. Whereas like if you actually had like a ball joint, but the joint inside is vac metalized, that's going to scrape off on all the pieces rubbing together. So I got what their explanation was, but those Silverhawks figures are completely articulated, like full articulation. So I don't know. It kind of seems like they were just full of shit when they said they couldn't do it.
Yeah. I think that's what it was. I think he just realized how much it would cost for it to get done. Cause I'm sure it's not cheap because I bet it's not easy to get done. Motu wasn't doing it until that line really started taking off, and then they started slapping it on stuff once the lines were a success. So I can understand early on in your line, maybe when you're like, we can't lose our asses on this one, because also Silverhawks isn't even probably on par with Thundercats in popularity. It's even more niche, exactly, because yeah. So I'm pretty excited for those figures. I'm on the fence about that Shredder for one reason. I really like the alternate head with the blacked out eyes.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know why, that does look really cool to me.
It does look really cool. I do dig it, but it's an alt head is not cool enough for me to spend $55 extra on it. So for me, I'm gonna pass, especially when I look at like Wave 9, and it's like I'm gonna have to spend like $75 on Wingnut and Screw Loose and like $65 on Scumbug and all that shit. It's like, you know what? Fuck the alternate Shredder. I'll live without them.
Yeah, and also the good part is if I pass on a figure, I feel like it's gonna be a figure that a lot of other people pass on as well. So hopefully, I don't want to say hopefully, but it probably will go on sale at some point as well. So I have picked up a lot of second figures to keep in package for $25. So
wow. I just got a Big Bad Toy Store. They've been all summer doing like weekend deals or one-day deals. I finally got him on my shelf over there. The Undercover Raphael from Super 7.
Oh, nice. You pulled the trigger on that one? What did he go down to?
What was it, like 35 or something?
Oh, nice.
40? He was low. Again, he's actually one who's more expensive. If you go on eBay, he's like $60 to $90 usually.
Really?
So yeah, so I actually lucked out. I think a lot of people just didn't go for that one, so he just kind of ended up becoming rare. But yeah, there was again, I as much as I crap on Super 7, there's just certain joy to opening a new Super 7 figure that just like I love it. Like I love getting a new Super 7 figure. Like I had the biggest, stupidest smile on my face when I was opening that Raphael. So
well, because when was the last time you opened a Super 7 figure?
October, I think.
Yeah, exactly. That's why it feels so good, because you never do it. Meanwhile, NECA has Haulathon and you have a mountain of figures and you're like, fuck, it's gonna take me all day to open this shit.
Yeah, we'll get to NECA at the end because they have a lot. But yeah, that's really all Super 7 did. They didn't announce anything new. They just showed off stuff that they promised us like a year ago. We finally saw it. Some of it, I think, more than a year ago, actually. It looks good. I'm not getting the Shredder. I'll still get the Robotic Rocksteady, but I'm not like loving it.
And now that I think the line might possibly be in its twilight, I'm going to get the Bebop and Rocksteady too, just because they are regular Playmates figures. And I feel like if I ever stop collecting, like that's going to be what I want out of the collection, is at least just getting all the regular Playmates inspired figures.
Yeah, for sure. Because yeah, if God forbid they shouldn't, because as Chris Fawcett explained to us, like Playmates in no way owns those designs. So there really shouldn't be any reason why Super 7 can't do those designs as long as Viacom said they can do Turtles figures. So I don't know why, but it really feels like from Wave 10 that like they are not doing those designs anymore.
I do think it's because I don't think it's like legal. I think it's just like we see the value in Playmates again, and Playmates doesn't like this, so we're going to do what Playmates wants us to do. I think that's really what it is. I think it is just a pettiness situation above like an actual, I know it's not a legal situation, but I think that really is what it comes down to is Playmates is slinging turtles. They're redoing as many molds as they can. They still, what, they just put out Wingnut and Screw Loose, so that would make sense why they wouldn't want
Yeah,
to
I
do
get
those figures. They're the Rat King. I've seen some people with it, but I haven't found the Rat King anywhere yet.
Oh yeah, I haven't seen them. Yeah,
No, so they're redoing a Rat King. They redid Mondo. Mondo's another one.
Oh,
Super
really?
7's doing. So yeah, I actually have them, or not Mondo. Sorry, Frog.
Oh, Genghis.
Genghis. Yeah,
Oh, I haven't seen him anywhere either.
yeah. So yeah, the newest wave I think, or the new figures were Genghis, Wingnut, and Leatherhead.
I got Leatherhead and Wingnut. I didn't know Genghis was out. I didn't, he's probably on the back of the package, but I've got him. I got them.
I've only seen him once. I've seen Wingnut and Leatherhead at a lot of places, so I think Genghis is like probably the short pack for those cases.
Oh, okay, yeah, but yeah, I don't know. I don't really know because I still feel like Super 7 is still clearly something different, even though they are using the same designs. It honestly, it might even just be a case that the Four Horsemen left and like they don't think anyone else is good enough to do those designs.
I mean, they also could have just been smelling their own farts and been like, huh, we can just do whatever we want. We're such a good company now. And
Maybe, yeah.
Might not be working out for them.
Yeah. But yeah, the Space Cadet Raph and the Genghis Frog look awesome. Genghis is the star of that wave, I think.
Yeah, just his texture. Like, I'm so glad they like went hard on that. He does look great. I feel like you always want those plus figures, and to me, he is plussed up a little bit.
He is. He's like extra warty and everything, and he's just, I can't tell. It looks like there's a wash on his skin to kind of bring out the warts even more.
He actually looks like he's painted, and that's what worries me because I don't know. I didn't watch any interviews of anybody that actually did interviews with Super 7, but these could still just be like hand painted prototypes. I don't actually know if these are like factory samples or not.
Yeah, I don't know. They had some packages behind them to imply this is what they're going to look like out of the package, but that could always still just be a prototype.
Yeah.
But to be honest, I don't think I've ever seen Super 7 put extra deco on a prototype that wasn't in the final figure. I could be wrong, but I don't believe that's ever happened.
Because I can't honestly remember what figures they've shown off before actually releasing before. I can't think of what did they show off last year. I can't even remember now.
Last year at SDCC.
Oh,
they had Samurai Leo and Leatherhead and Ray Fillet and stuff.
They had Wave 5, I think.
Yeah, I think they didn't have Krang yet. One of them was missing. It was either Krang or Ray Fillet. One of them wasn't there yet. But you could see the other three. Okay. And they were like, yeah, right after this, they're going to come out. And then like 2 months later, they finally came out. But yeah, so Super 7, they're doing what Super 7 does. I'm just happy to see new Super 7 figures again and hear they're actually coming within a month or two, which maybe not. Maybe we might have to wait a little longer, but it's just nice to know that, we're getting more of them because I love that line. And they're, like you said, they're still the style of figures that I love. The Playmates inspired ones, not that Karai and Ninja April and Red Casey and all that stupid shit. It's like the actual Super 7 stuff that I want.
And it's nice to see that this wave wasn't retooled at all, which does give me hope that maybe they just are having tons of regular Super 7 issues and they're not having to retool all these figures to maybe look a little bit less Playmates-ish.
Yeah. I think the only thing I noticed, I have to say just randomly as a side note, every time you say retool, the thing that pops into my head is in National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation, where the boss, Bill Murray's brother, like picks up the phone and is like, retool, I'll retool you. And he just hangs up. I don't know why. It's just coming off my head every time you say it.
I'm going to think about that every time I watch the movie.
Yeah, I think the only thing I noticed, I want to say, I could be wrong, but I want to say from the 3D prototypes or the 3D, like, images, like the teaser images, I think Genghis's alt head with the tongue coming out, his tongue was kind of like, it was wavy, but it was going forward. Whereas now I think it's going to the side, I believe. I could be wrong. It might have always been like that, but
yeah, I actually can't remember because I'm pretty confident with whatever Super 7 usually shows us are just digital renders. I don't think they're ever actually like prototypes or anything.
No, they're just digital examples of like what it's going to look like.
Okay.
Even when they show those little shots of like, like they had like Scratch running through the sewers and stuff. Those are even like renders. Also, those aren't even actually the figures.
We still had a lot of other companies showing us stuff too. So I guess maybe not a lot of other, but Mezco showed off prototypes of their turtles, and as soon as people saw those in real life, they sold out instantly on Big Bad Toy Store. So I did end up going in around March, I think. I got the Mezco cable, and as soon as I pre-ordered, I guess that would have been a little bit later because that's when Big Bad Toy Store was running their daily sales, and I got the Mezco cable. And right when I ordered him, I'm like, I'm just gonna do the turtles now. Like I know I'm gonna fall in love with this cable, and I did. Dude, that figure is fucking amazing.
Oh, yeah.
So, like, I have very, very, very high hopes that these are gonna be very sick turtles, but they are very expensive. And I know I was just talking about huge purchases, and the one I ordered from Big Bad Toy Store, so I put $40 down, so it will be a $360 hit. But I'm very much winding down in everything that I'm collecting right now. And I feel like if it's right around Christmas, I'm just going to take everything that my family gets me, all the money and everything like that. And just that's what I'm going to put it towards this year. So that's my plan for Christmas. It'll take a big hit out of that. They look amazing. Like I think these figures look great. I'm very excited for them. And they announced a Casey, which I'm really nervous that that's going to be a Mezco exclusive because those are the ones that are like hard to get or the ones that they only sell on their website.
Yeah, that's going to. I mean, you're not gonna be able to get that. Like that's
I'm gonna get it. I will get it. I will figure if I get the turtles, I have to get that Casey. And I mean that if I have to get rid of a kidney to get that Casey, it might happen. Like there's no way that I could go in on those turtles and not get the Casey.
I just feel like it with those, it's like they're so hard to get, they're so expensive, and it's not even a line or a company that I collect anything for yet. So for me, it's an easy pass. But I can see though they're really good. I've looked at them. I've seen what the turtles look like. I've tried to not even look at them that much because I don't even want to start getting attached to them. I don't want to start liking them too much because then I'm gonna be like, well, if I've set up a payment plan, I was like, no. Like I don't need any more freaking turtles. I'll collect the lines I have. Super 7 and NECA are the modern ones I'm doing. Playmates is the vintage one I do. That's already 3 lines of turtles that are all very expensive. So like I don't need more. But hey, I think it's just so cool that we live in a time where there's like 40 different options of what kind of turtles you want to collect.
It's really funny that you just said that the way you did because what ruined me is one day like the FOMO kicked in. I'm like, all right, let me just flip through the images. Let me just see what's going on here. And I did it the next day and the next day and the next day. And I was literally looking at them every day for like a month. And it just did get to me. Like it really, I don't know what it was. I feel like if I would have played it like you did, it wouldn't have been so bad. But that was the fatal mistake for sure, was just looking at them over and over and over.
That's definitely happened to me with some figures. I mean, that's how I started collecting Super 7. Is I started watching videos on them, like, these are really fucking cool. And there's certain figures like I'm on the fence about. And when you're on the fence about it, you should just turn away. But instead, for me, sometimes I just keep looking at it. I keep going back and looking at it like, I don't need it, but I don't know. It's really cool. I wouldn't mind having it. And then before you know it, you're like 3 months later, you have 20 of the figures from the line and you're all in on it. So I'm trying to be very picky about what I collect these days because, NECA has like 500 lines I'm collecting and the Super 7 figures and the regular, not turtles, but the Universal Monster figures from NECA. I collect all of them and stuff. And it's like, I have like several toy lines that I just collect, and you can only collect so much.
I mean, look how much we've spent 40 minutes talking about turtles lines and we haven't even got to NECA, that's making more figures than all the other companies put together. So it's very understandable. And that's why I've kind of gotten away from collecting everything else. And side note, we won't get too far into this, but Hasbro actually just announced that Power Rangers is going on hiatus and the Lightning Collection is going on hiatus as well, which is, it's a bummer for me because I was hoping to get a couple more monsters and I'm sure it will come back. Who knows if it'll do the same thing, but the biggest bummer is now we're not going to get figures from the second Turtles crossover, and there is some sick action figures that could have been made for that. So I'm very bummed about that.
That's so weird that they would do that. That's like one of Hasbro's biggest lines is Power Rangers.
I think what it is, you have your MMPR fans, and most of them are just Jesus Christ. Holy shit. They are mostly just MMPR fans, and they don't really care about anything else. And that's the boat I'm in, with the exception of the Boom Studio stuff. I do collect all the comic stuff too. Then you have your very select few hardcore fans that are all in on everything, which is probably a very small group in the Power Rangers community. Then you have all your like micro fan bases for each individual series, and all of them are always like, my season's the best. My season's the best. Why does so much MMPR stuff get made? And it's a very split fan base, and I think it makes it hard to sell action figures that way.
Mighty Morphin is definitely like the 87 cartoon of Power Rangers. Yeah. It's like, it's the one that made it blow up in America and become a phenomenon and a marketing phenomenon and all this stuff. And it defined a generation of kids. And now these younger kids are just like, you know, this thing has been around in so many iterations since then that they're just like, why do we have to hear about this one fucking version over and over again? But it's like, you can see it both ways. It's like, yeah, it's kind of overkill. You have this whole franchise that you're ignoring. You're just looking at one little part, but at the same time, you wouldn't have that whole franchise if not for that little part. So it's definitely hard to say. I think like the rarest are the ones who are into all versions of Power Rangers, but they do exist. Like Andre Meadows from Black Nerd Comedy.
Yep.
He watched, I think, every season of Power Rangers his whole life, I think. So
yeah, there are some diehard fans, and there's a dude, I can't remember what his YouTube channel is, but I'm from Michigan, so anytime I go home, it's a 4-hour drive. So I've gone down some deep rabbit holes, and there's a guy that literally breaks down every season of the Power Rangers play by play. And I have never even seen these seasons, and I've listened to almost every episode that he made driving back and forth probably 2 years ago. I listened to so much of that. So there is people, because you also have the people that really, we got to end this. We're talking a lot about Power Rangers here. We still got a lot of Turtles, but there's a lot of people that are into it so deep that they like all the actual like Super Sentai stuff and the Rangers that didn't even come out in the States. So is that really hardcore fan base that likes all the Japanese stuff as well.
Because that goes back to like the 60s. If you want to get into Super Sentai, because I think that was what Zyuranger was the version that became Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, if I'm not mistaken.
That sounds right. I don't have all of that stuff in line, but that's a word I've heard a lot for sure.
Yeah, I think that was the one that the iteration that had the dinosaurs and stuff.
Yeah, and that was like the 10th iteration, maybe not that far, but it wasn't even close to the first one.
No, it wasn't. Yeah, because again, it had been happening since the 60s. That was like what that had. The Zyuranger had to have either come out in like the late 80s or early 90s, I'm guessing. So
yeah. All right, but yeah, that was pretty good Power Rangers tangent there. But getting back to Turtles, so
Power Rangers tangent, yeah.
Do we have anything? Oh, I guess the one last, I think, piece of action figure news before we get into Neko, which is probably going to take the second half of this episode to get through. Leaked images of the Motu crossover figures popped up. They do not look great. They look very, very underwhelming.
Which is so disappointing, because when I first heard these rumors, I was like, oh, fuck, that's one more line I got to collect. Now that I've seen the pictures, I don't think I have to. Like, so when I first heard Turtles in Motu crossover, and it was revealed that it was going to be Leo, Donnie, Man-at-Arms, and He-Man. There's actually a fifth figure in there now, but those were the four that were leaked, like supposedly way back, like rumored. And it was definitely real, the rumors, because it's exactly who we're getting with Krang added. But I just remember picturing like, okay, so it's going to be like the Turtles, but in like the 5.5 scale, like real buffed up and stuff. And almost something like the Jim Lee Turtles, almost, I was thinking. Something like that. And I was like, oh, that's going to be so cool. And then like, what are they going to do with the He-Man characters? Are they going to be mutants? Or like what are they going to do with it? And they did like the lamest thing you could do with them, I think.
So I don't understand. Like, He-Man just looks like he's blue, and Man-at-Arms just looks like he has elephantiasis on the left side of his body.
Yeah, Man-at-Arms is just Man-at-Arms. He just got like bloated with water in some parts of his body. Like, the He-Man's called like Mutant He-Man, but he's just a blue, angry faced
Yeah.
He-Man. Like,
I don't understand what's going on. He just looks blue.
and I mean, you already have fucking Faker, who's just blue He-Man. So like, why do we need blue mutant He-Man? Like, why couldn't he be like you know what would have been cool is if he was like a mutant battle cat. That would have been cool.
There you
But
go.
we didn't get that, unfortunately. You get Sorceress as like an actual like hawk mutant. You could get like Tila as a snake mutant and stuff. That you could do so much with that. But no, we got Blue He-Man, we got Elephantitis Man at Arms, we got like an orc out of Warcraft with like Krang in its stomach, which
I didn't even realize that was Krang until I like read what
Me too.
was going on. I couldn't even tell what was going on with that figure.
I had no idea what it was when I first saw it too, because I'm like, I thought Donnie was announced. That's not Donnie, is it? And I read it like, oh, Krang, okay. And I don't know what that figure is. And then the Leo is like, he's just like a weird like fan art interpretation of Leo. Like I don't know. I don't know what the hell it is. I don't know what these figures are.
So there's this dude, I think his channel is Mr. Home Arcade, and he's made the coolest looking Motu TMNT customs I've ever seen. I think he makes them out of the Super 7 figures, and they are fucking beautiful. Like, you should check out his channel just for these. Like, that's the main reason that hooked me, because they are amazing. Like, I can't even tell you how cool these are. I would pay money for those if he ever went into production on them, but
yeah,
they are so much better than the figures that were actually showing off.
Yeah, I don't know what that Leo is. He just has like blue shoulder pads and stuff thrown on him. Like, he's just like, I liked, so Funko, they were really brittle and shitty quality, and they usually broke coming out of the package, but they did those like Thundercats in the style of Motu. And those look great. Those are amazing figures. And they're exactly what you'd want if you want to see Lion-O and He-Man next to each other similarly. Like, I still have them on my shelf. I took most of my Funko stuff down, but I still have those because they had the Savage World and Primal Age figures running for a while, and they did like the slasher characters from horror, and I still have those up. They did a bunch of DC characters and stuff, Mortal Kombat characters, but the Thundercats one, they didn't do like, oh, here they are wearing barbarian stuff. It's just the Thundercats characters in the style of a 5.5 80s action figure line. And that's all I wanted for the Turtles. I just wanted 5.5 80s style Turtles, like like 80s action figure style Turtles to like, you could put with the vintage Motu or Motu Origins, and they would look great next to each other.
Well, that's what I thought the line was going to be. I thought it was going to be, because it's even, I think, like, advertised as origin style figures, but they don't really look like origin styles figures to me. I feel like they almost overthought it. You know what I mean? I would have been happy with a Motu style Leo or origin style Leo, just with He-Man armor on, an axe and a sword. Like, I would have been happy with that if they did it that way.
Yeah, honestly, if they just wanted to give him like 2 power swords and then give him like a harness, but make it black, like it's his crossed belt, and then put like an L in the middle instead of the He-Man logo, that would have been awesome. Like, I would have loved that.
Just that simple.
But no, they overthought it. Like you said, they definitely overthought it. And for the He-Man characters, they underthought it. But I still don't know what that blue He-Man is supposed to be. But
yeah, I don't know. And these are leaked images. Maybe they'll look better in hand. We'll see. Maybe. Time will tell. But we have a lot of NECA stuff to talk about, so we probably need to get rolling on that now.
Right before we do, something that is not toy related, but is a cool little bit of information. Nickelodeon finally has the rights to show the 1987 cartoon on, not just on Paramount Plus, they're showing it on Nickelodeon, like on the channel. Like, they're just showing it on regular TV, cable TV. The fact that they are going to be showing that cartoon regularly on TV again blows my fucking mind.
Yeah, and it's genius too, because if you're trying to get kids hype, getting it in the faces of as many people as possible is the way to do it. And I know cable's not what it used to be. I actually just got rid of YouTube TV. I have like no version of cable right now, but I do have the whole season. I can watch it whenever I want anyway. But I'm really happy that anybody that doesn't have it, like even just casual fans, will be able to watch it on regular TV and share it with their kids. And it it is just a very, very, very cool time to be a Turtles fan right now.
It is. And I think it works good because for a lot of parents who just turn on the TV for their kids, they just turn on Nickelodeon and leave the room. A lot of kids know about the 87 cartoon show now through like just the internet, people talking about them, the NECA action figures, the video games, the Cowabunga collection and Shredder's Revenge. And I think like giving them a way to actually finally watch that show is pretty awesome. I think the show will do well. I think like some people might say it's dated and kids today won't like it. I think kids today will still like it actually.
Well, I think it is a good kids show. I mean, I think it's fun. It's kind of slapsticky, and I know I'm looking at it through 1990 kid eyes, but I think it will do well on a kids channel.
I think it will too, and it's great because you have like 200 freaking episodes to just show. You don't have to do any work. You just put them up there, and yeah, it's awesome to know it's coming back. I'm probably not gonna watch it because I don't watch cable TV, but it's cool to know it's on there.
This is April O'Neil, Channel 6 News, and you're watching the Party Wagon Podcast.
Now, I feel like we can really... Anything else? Any other thing I forgot we got to talk about?
Probably, but I don't remember right now either. So let's just get into the real...
Okay, yeah. And I've literally just had anxiety all day thinking about this, being like, man, there's so much to talk about. So NECA just overwhelming us with figures, throwing so much at us. They have 10 different lines going right now if you look at all the comic lines individually and not just comic lines. They had Universal Monsters, they had Archie figures, they had IDW figures, Mirage figures, movie figures, and Toon figures.
So much stuff. So much freaking stuff. I don't even know where to start. I guess let's start at the smallest one. Let's start with Universal Monsters. Interesting choice they did. See, I'm still certain that Dracula Shredder is coming.
Has to be.
Because there's no way you do a Turtles line with characters like Casey and April and don't do Shredder. There's no way you do Universal Monsters without doing Dracula.
So I would say Dracula and Frankenstein's monster are the two most cliche, I would say, of the original Universal Monsters.
I would say the big three are Dracula, Frankenstein, and the Wolfman. But Dracula and Frankenstein, those are the ones that, even though Hunchback of Notre Dame and Phantom of the Opera came out before that in the silent time, I don't consider Hunchback horror. I consider the Phantom one part of it, but it's debated amongst Universal Monster fans. But even though those predate Dracula and Frankenstein both came out in 1931, and they really kicked off the horror cycle that ran all the way through the 50s with the Creature from the Black Lagoon movies. So they are definitely the two big key ones. Even the serials, they have Frankenberry and Count Chocula. Those are the two mainstays and everything. So I just think Dracula, yeah, you're right. Dracula and Frankenstein are the biggest, but I think the Wolfman's an honorary third. But Dracula's definitely coming, and we're getting the Wolfman. But the interesting choice is they're recycling Turtles now.
Yes, and I figured they would with a lot of the monsters because there's not really a real deep route to go down here because they're kind of sticking to more movie style figures, I guess you would say. So they don't really have the deep end they could go to with, let's say, the Toon line. The thing that... Did you watch the interview with the Pixel Dan did with Trevor?
Yes. Yeah, I saw
okay.
That.
So Trevor said that there's going to be a couple sleepers in the line. And I feel like my bold prediction is they're going to do a Baxter Stockman as actual Dr. Frankenstein.
Oh, really? Maybe. See, what I thought when he said that, I thought he meant there was going to be sleepers on the Universal Monster side, not the Turtle side. Is what I picked up from that.
I feel like that's kind of both, though.
Yeah. Yeah, because even though Dr. Frankenstein is just as important as the monster, arguably he's much more of a character. That's debatable. But yeah, he's one that gets overlooked a lot because he's not a monster, quote unquote. Well, yeah, they might do something like that. Or maybe we'll get Professor Perry from Secret of the Ooze.
There you go. That's what it'll be. Yep, that makes more sense now.
But yeah, he said there's going to be several more. So I'm guessing Mikey and Donnie are getting new monsters also. They better not do what they did in the classic line and they left Don out of the second wave. But he's saying there's going to be some deep cuts for the Universal monsters. I'm guessing that could mean something like maybe the Metaluna mutant from This Island Earth, or like the mole people, some of the more 50s ones, more the ones that are like debatably Universal.
Yeah, I don't even know. I think what they've shown off, I can't think of anything else in the franchise, honestly.
There's other ones there's definitely other ones you can do. There's like Rondo Hatton was the actor they called the monster without makeup, screwed up enough. He got screwed up by like drugs in World War I, like chemical warfare. So he would like act as the brute man or the creeper, whatever you want to call him. You could do him. Yeah, there's just a lot of secondary ones. Then there's like ones that are like Countess Zaleska, who's Dracula's daughter, or like Wilford Glendon, who's Werewolf of London, not the Wolfman. It's like the mummy Karis instead of Imhotep. It's like, I don't think they're going to go that deep where you're getting like different versions of the mummy and stuff, like different mummies. And I think they're going to keep it more to like the iconic monster rather than like the iteration of the monster.
Yeah. So looking at the actual figures themselves, though, dude, they're on fire. Like they both look like great figures.
I heard a lot of people said that because a lot of people were waiting for the Wolfman and the Creature because those are some of like the most popular monsters. But I heard a lot of people expecting Razar and Toka to be them. But I always thought like Razar as the Wolfman is fucking dumb though, because he's already a wolf.
Yeah.
And I mean, Toka's already a green aquatic creature, so it's like, I don't know, it doesn't work I mean, I guess so is Leo, but yeah, the Leo looks really cool though. I'd say the Leo as the creature looks really cool.
Yeah. Oh, what's the monster that Raph is in the second wave of the Playmates figures?
That's the Metaluna mutant. So they just called him a mutant. That's
okay, gotcha.
A science fiction movie from the 50s called This Island Earth. And if you watch the movie, the monster doesn't even show up until like the last 2 seconds, and it's injured and it dies super fast anyway. But
okay,
so it was just there so they could put it on the poster of him carrying the girl. That was
good. Have they hit all the figures from the original 2 Playmates waves then at this point? Or all the characters?
Except for Dracula and the mutant. Dracula and the mutant are the only 2 they have. Because Leo is the only one who's repeated. He's been the creature from Black Lagoon twice. He was in the vintage one, and he was now. Although in 2012 toy line they did a Universal Monster crossover also, and I don't remember who was what for that.
I think Mikey was the Wolfman, and that's the only one I can picture in my head right now.
Okay, so the Wolfman's always different for some reason.
Donnie was Dracula, I think, too. I did have those figures.
Oh, okay. Well, that's a repeat. He was Dracula in the vintage one too.
Okay,
so Donnie's always Dracula for some reason. But I do think Shredder Dracula's coming, also just because they made Splinter Van Helsing, and in Splinter's trailer they say he protects his mutant, like his monster kids, from evil monsters. I'm like, okay, that's gonna be Dracula. It's gonna be Shredder. Like I know we're getting Dracula Shredder, and honestly, I'm fucking hyped. Like a bat themed Shredder could be fucking awesome.
Well,
like,
I mean, he already has the cape too. Like, it's such a natural fit.
If he's just like dressed in like a nice suit, but then he's got this like wicked like fucking spiky bat armor all over him and like a Dracula cape, and oh man, that'd be the best of the human figures immediately, probably, if they did it well. So.
Yeah.
And actually that's not true. I said Leo was the only repeat. April was Bride of Frankenstein both times, because
not really a lot of options there though, unless they bring in Irma. So
I mean, hey, you could be ballsy and make her the creature from the Black Lagoon or something, but no one's been that daring yet.
Right.
So.
So all right, what other?
I guess we'll go into the movie stuff now, because that's kind of what the Universal Monster one's based on.
Yeah, and it's also one of the smaller reveals overall too, I feel like.
There was still a lot of stuff for what it is. So we already knew about the samurai turtles from Turtles 3, and they look incredible.
Yeah.
I wish I got them, but I just don't have the money for that stuff right now, but they look incredible. But we got a lot of Secret of the Ooze stuff.
Yeah, and I'm really excited because like I think we talked about this in one of our last couple of podcasts, but I feel like the first movie needs to be left alone unless they can get Tatsu. Like, yeah, we did talk about this recently because we kept talking about getting freaking regular or menthol. Yeah, so if they do Sam Rockwell, I'll get him too. But I think it's time to move on to the second movie. And again, it's not like there's a lot of places you can go with it, but they seem to be going everywhere we could go. I never really knew if we were going to get a Professor Perry or not, and I'm really glad that we are. And you can tell that they really are trying to milk this line as much as they can by giving us the 2 versions of him and the second version of Kino.
Yeah, they said the Perry's going to be a 2-pack, so you're getting both of those.
Too. It'll both of them will be in the same one.
Yeah. So you're getting both of those whether you like it or not. If you get one Perry, you're getting the other. So it's cool. It didn't even occur to me when I was saying like they could do Professor Perry that they could do that ridiculous orange suit that he's wearing at the beginning of the movie.
I knew it would be a second form, and I could be wrong, but it might be a Michael Myers jumpsuit because he definitely has the diaper syndrome going on that everybody complains about with Michael Myers figures. So that was the first thing I noticed when it showed that figure. He has some bad diaper syndrome going on.
Oh, okay. So yeah, it's probably a reuse of the Michael Myers one. That could be really fun because it's still orange. It's still a Halloween color. You could take the Michael Myers head off and put it on that body. It's like party Michael Myers. But yeah, I mean, they look really good. The likeness is insane on Professor Perry. He looks great. Just like him.
He looks great. Kino does too, though. Like they're nailing their live action stuff for sure.
They are. Does he come with the giant mutated dandelion?
Shredder did.
Oh, okay. I don't have the Secret of the Ooze Shredder.
Okay, yeah. So the Secret of the Ooze Shredder does. I'm assuming that Orange Professor Perry would also have to come with him. I'd be shocked if he didn't.
Yeah, but really, the only one that feels weird that we haven't got it is April from Secret of the Ooze.
I'm assuming it's a likeness thing. So because like Judith Hogue is like very involved with like the Comic-Con circuit and the fandom and stuff like that, to where does Paige Turco ever really do anything?
I can't tell you what the hell Paige Turco has done since she was in Turtles 3. I don't know what the hell else she's done. So
yeah, so I mean, she might be on like the same page as Tatsu, where she just doesn't give a shit anymore and just doesn't care. But I mean, also at the same time, if you're just living a regular life, seems like easy money would be cool.
Yeah. Hey, we want to make a doll of you. We're like an action figure of you. You don't have to do anything. We're just going to look at how you looked in 1991 and make a doll out of it.
Right.
So, that's the weirdest one that's gone, but yeah, it's probably for that reason. The one I want the most that we need to get is Vanilla Ice.
Yeah, that would be and it's. I feel like there has to have been a call made, and it's very shocking because Vanilla Ice seems like a pretty narcissistic dude. You know what I mean? It seems like if anybody wanted to make an action figure for him, he'd be all about it.
I think he would be on board with it too, because I don't know if you remember, like several years ago now, I think it was when the 2012 show was out, or like the last years, probably like 2015, 2016. They did a Kraft macaroni and cheese commercial with about the Turtles. And the guy stocking the shelf is Vanilla Ice, and he starts singing the ninja rap and shit. So it's like,
I don't remember that commercial.
Oh yeah, it was good. So like he still owns it. Like he still like owns up to the fact that he did the ninja rap or something. Like he still celebrates it. So he even did. Speaking of Andre Meadows, I remember there was an interview I saw him do with Vanilla Ice years ago, and like he does the dance with Andre, like the little like thing where they go like that. like they do the like he's all about it. He's not like ashamed of it. So I think if they asked him, he'd probably say yes. But he's like, just make sure you make that figure ice. I don't want it to be cool. I want it to be ice. We should get it though. I think that would really finish finish it all up. That would just make it like the perfect complete package of Secret of the Ooze figures, is to get Vanilla Ice, and then you can just set up your club scene with Professor Perry there and the Turtles, breakdance fighting Bebop. Not Bebop. Razar and Toka and everything. You can have the fire hydrant there. Like, you could just recreate the whole scene. And I mean, I guess where do you stop then though? Because like, do you need like all of Vanilla Ice's backup dancers?
Well, that's exactly what I was thinking. I could see it being a Comic-Con exclusive, Vanilla Ice, and then 3 jabronis behind him.
Maybe. I don't know. I might have to go in on that one if they do it though.
I mean, dude, if you get a vanilla, they do a vanilla ice figure, you have to get it. Well, there's no way you could turn that down. That is like a once in a lifetime opportunity Turtles figure.
You know what? Honestly, I think would be the best display if they gave us the Vanilla Ice one. Not even using Secret of the Use figures, just make a whole stage of Vanilla Ice, his backup dancers, and the coming out of their shells turtles.
There you go.
That'd be beautiful.
It's really funny because people are like that. Coming out of their shells tours pack is so old now that I've seen people in groups being like, "Have they ever made these turtles before? Or are they gonna?"
I want them to re-release it. I want those. Damn it! Like re-release them.
Yeah, because I don't even know what they go for on the aftermarket.
I don't know. I haven't checked, but I want them. Like I said, all I ever saw in the stores was the stupid bonus pack with the T-shirt and the guitar tabs and stuff.
And it teases you every time because it looks like the box too. So, but the cool deep cut that they did give us from Secret of the Use is the chubby foot soldier. I'm very excited. I bet he's going to come in a 2-pack with the training Kino. I feel like that just has a good balance there.
I could be mistaken, but I think they actually said that in Pixel Dan's interview.
Okay, gotcha. I might have missed that then, but
that's a crazy figure to be getting. I think the coolest deep cut though is they said it will be for sale is Shredder's throne, his garbage throne.
So yeah, I was thrown off by that too, and I don't know, does it ever even show it in the background of the movie, or does it literally just appear on a trading card, like he said?
I think it is I want to say it's in the movie. I don't know though. That I might just be like convincing myself, like, yeah, it was probably in the movie. There was garbage everywhere. They were in a garbage dump, but I don't know if it was in there. But it's a really cool. It's like set piece to have. Like it's very cool.
Yeah, and it's one of those things where I think it's just coming by itself, so anybody could buy that for 6-inch, 7-inch scale figures.
Yeah, exactly. And I guess it's kind of like akin to the Portal, the Donatello's Portal that they made for the animated series. Yep. It's just like a standalone accessory. If I get it, I don't know where the hell I'm going to put it, especially since I don't even have Secret of the Use Shredder. Maybe Razar was sitting on it or something. But yeah, it's cool. It's just cool to get that kind of stuff because, you know, we're getting all this. We'll get into it more later on, but the play sets and stuff we're getting for the Toon line. But you don't really get that kind of stuff for the other waves of turtles they're doing, the other lines of turtles. So it's cool that the movie figures are starting to get like not full-blown dioramas, but like, you know, accessory sets like that.
Yeah, because I don't really know what they could do. I mean, they could do a sewer layer for the original movie. I feel like that one was kind of defined, but like the train station from the second one, I don't even know how you'd go about doing a dio for that one.
That would be really hard because that's massive, and there's like the old train carts they can go inside of and hang out in and everything. It would be a beautiful play set, but I mean, it's hard to call them play sets now. They don't have play features. They're just dioramas. They're dios. Yeah. But you could do April's burning apartment though as a dio. That would be pretty cool. The farmhouse might be a little plain. I don't know, but you could do it. I mean, I think those are some of the more noteworthy locations. Obviously, we've talked about the Foot Clan skate park, like warehouse. Right. Yeah, I don't know. You could do a lot with it. There's a lot of noteworthy locations in the movie, but they'd be much bigger scale than like what we get in the cartoon and stuff. So
yeah, it would almost have to be like the street level in that way, like tiered or something like that. I feel like.
And I have to say, we're not going into the tune yet, but just for shits and giggles, I thought because there's something announced for the tune line that can add on to that street dio now. I was like, what does that street dio go for? I could clear some of my room, make some space for it. It's over $1,000. I'm not buying that fucking thing.
Wait, what are you talking about?
The tune street diorama goes for over $1,000
on the secondary market. Yeah. So because they've only done 2 runs of that, and I feel like the first one was kind of really early in the line, and a lot of people didn't go in on it. And then I think with the second one, they underproduced, and a lot of people didn't get theirs. I think orders got canceled for that one. I could be wrong, but I remember a lot of like controversy going around when the second one started shipping.
Yeah, they all go for like over $1,000. If you
Crazy.
see one lower, it's because you look at the shipping. It's like shipping $500.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, okay. So I'm just not getting it. But I'd love it because honestly, that would create so much more room in my room. I could move all the NECA boxes somewhere else and put it there instead. Then move a bunch of my NECA figures over there and clear up so much space where I have my NECA figures. And it looks cool, and I'd love to have the new playset underneath it, the new die underneath it, but I can't go in on something that expensive. That's just too much for something I don't actually need.
So shifting gears over to the comic book stuff, this I feel like is where NECA is really, really, really expanding, and it's not like any of the 3 comic book lines they have going. Like none of them really have an extreme amount of figures put together. All 3 of those lines, they really outshined the Toon line, even in my opinion, this time.
Yeah, honestly, I think usually the Toon line is the main attraction when when NECA's showing off new figures. Usually the Toon line is by far the main attraction, but this time, without a doubt, it's the comic figures. I think the Archie got a lot of stuff. Ronan got some stuff. The clear winner, though, I think this time is Mirage. I think Mirage has just really been firing on all cylinders recently.
Yeah, and I recently talked about this in the top 10 video I did. They just have a really good aesthetic to work with. And we talked about this last time with the Toon line, how I feel like the aesthetic they're working with just by design is a little bit more boring and just plain, and the comic line is a little bit more gritty, and they can just do a lot more with like washes and paint and just line work everywhere, and it just looks phenomenal. And the characters, like, I just want to jump right in with my favorite character. That Rat King is fucking amazing. That is probably the figure, or my favorite figure, that they showed off out of all the Turtles figures.
I had a feeling you were going to jump to that Rat King because that's the clear coolest figure.
Oh, dude, it is so sick. When people first started just showing, like, when he was hidden in the tube, I was like, oh my God.
They teased him the first day he was just in that tube. Then they brought him out later on. And yeah, he looks incredible. He looks definitely the best Rat King that NECA has made so far. I'd say one of the best Rat King figures ever made.
I mean, I think it is the best. Like, because I would say the Playmates figure is very heavily based off that version for sure. And I mean, I think it even looks cooler than it did in the comic. I think his proportions are even a little bit more ridiculous than they were.
Yeah.
And I know they said like he has a lot of appearances and he changes quickly, because I actually have his first appearance, and he actually first appeared in Tales of TMNT #4. So he didn't even appear first in the main Mirage run. And he is a little bit leaner in that one, but this one, he's just this big hulking monster, and he looks so damn cool.
What's the one where like he's dead and his spirit is just appearing to Splinter?
So that's when he has to eat the rats, and I get it confused. I can't remember if that was that Tales of the TMNT4. I can't remember right off the top of my head.
I'm like, again, I know everyone's going to say, I don't think you actually read it. I don't think you know what you're talking about. I read it. It's just been a long time, and there's so much turtle shit in my head. I can't remember everything. I want to say that's the first appearance of him.
Okay, so that would be Tales of TMNT #4 then. That is what that one's about.
Okay. Yeah, his figure is awesome. He's really like, he almost looks like a gorilla in the new figure. He's like a hunched over and he's real big. He looks awesome. Baxter is very good to get, even though he's not the most exciting figure.
Yeah, he does look really good though for being a more plain figure.
Yeah, he's perfect. He looks just like how he looks in issue 2 when you first meet Baxter Stockman. That's what he looks like. So bravo for that. Leatherhead, I don't think Mirage Leatherhead is the most interesting design for Leatherhead, but
really, you don't like it?
He's just a big naked alligator, man. Like, he's cool, but like,
well, so
I like Cajun Leatherhead.
Exactly, and I feel like you had that Killer Crocker figure too, and that's just a very cool interpretation of, it's not really Leatherhead, but it definitely is. I mean, I guess it could be Killer Croc or Leatherhead, but
yeah,
I get what you're saying. Like, that figure is very exciting and gritty, to where he does look a little bit more just like a morphed alligator, but they said he's going to be bigger than the Triceraton, and I feel like it is going to be one of those things where it might not look as cool from the promo shots, but once you see it inside that ginormous box, it might look a little bit cooler.
It probably will. And it just is cool because I've always thought of, for the 87 Turtles and the 88 toy line, I've always considered after Shredder, Bebop, and Rocksteady and stuff, like the main recurring side villains were always in my head, Baxter, Rat King, and Leatherhead. And I've always thought of them as that. They probably returned the most over the course of the cartoon stuff. They were some of the earliest sub-mutants and then the figure line. And that's who we just got from Mirage. That's probably why, because those three are from Mirage. So that's probably why they did more with them in the cartoon. But we just got all three of them announced together. So to me, it feels perfect. It's like, oh, it was meant to be. All three of those are always supposed to be together in my mind. So, I think honestly, the Baxter one's not super exciting, but he's definitely better. I think he's better looking than the Leatherhead figure for what he's supposed to be.
Yeah, and I was pretty impressed by the Leatherhead figure. I did like it a lot.
It's cool, yeah.
The other cool figure is the Romero. What the hell is his name?
Oh, Savante Romero, yeah.
Yeah, so the Savante Romero, that figure also looks awesome. And this is the first time he's ever been in action figure form. So he's from the 8th issue that Renae's from as well. He's like the main protagonist in that.
Antagonist,
the main antagonist. And he looks like, I don't know, they're just killing these figures. He looks so good for a figure that I barely have any ties to.
Yeah, he looks metal as fuck. I've always had I don't dislike Savante Romero. He's a cool character, but I always had like a bit of a lack of interest in him because I always thought he looks like he could be from Silverhawks or like any generic.
He's a very generic looking villain.
Yeah, he's just a demon. He's like a crazy demon, and it's like he looks cool. And the art style, he was always drawn by Kevin Eastman and stuff, so he always looked very Turtles, like vintage Turtles. But like I didn't learn about him until I read the comics when I got older, and I remember just thinking like, I'm kind of glad they didn't make this guy into the 87 cartoon show and the toy line. But now that we actually are getting a toy for him, it's like I'm fucking happy we're getting a toy for him because he's been a part of Turtles since the fucking 80s. So it's about time.
And I'm pretty sure they said that was like a heavy recommend from Kevin Eastman too. So
yeah, they did.
I think that might be a big reason why they are leaning into the Mirage line, because he's so willing to work on it with him. And why wouldn't you want to work with the creator of the Turtles as much as you possibly could?
Yeah, because he's been doing all that beautiful artwork for the packaging and stuff. And
those are hard boxes for me to throw away. I'm not going to lie. So the only thing I'm really keeping at this point is I'm actually going to get rid of all my Super 7 boxes here. I've decided they're 4 huge, like 40-gallon totes in my garage. It's going to save me a lot of space. I'm keeping all like the NECA VHS style packaging, and that's pretty much it for now. But the Eastman stuff, like I literally do feel like I'm slapping Eastman in the face when I throw that packaging away.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, I don't really display most of my packaging, but I keep almost all my packaging. I still have in the corner of my room this giant stack of the 2-pack NECA Toon packages, and it's like at some point I need to just either put those in the basement or get them the hell out of here because they're just like they're taking up a lot of space.
Looking so high right now.
Yeah, because there's so many of them, and they're taking up a lot of space, and they're going like behind the TV now. And right now, I'm using them as a way to prop up the Channel 6, like the Channel 6 news team box that looked like the Channel 6 building. I have that like in my room, like it's supposed to look like the actual building. But that's a place. If I got rid of those, I could put the street diorama there if I had it and stuff. So I think those are going to go at some point. But yeah, I don't know. I just don't have the heart to throw away the packaging. I don't know why. I have all my Super 7 packages in the basement. I have like any statue I own. I have the package still down in the basement. Like I have all the packages. And I mean, yeah, if I were theoretically ever to resell these, they'd be worth a lot more with the packages. But that's not really even in my mind. I just hold on to them just because, like, why not? I don't know. I guess like when you spend that much money on a toy, you're like, I feel kind of silly just throwing anything I spent $60 on in the trash. So,
well, also the packaging is just really good. Like it is art in a way, you know what I mean? Like that's kind of how I always looked at it. But the one piece of advice I'll give you, once you start throwing some stuff away, it gets a lot easier. So I did like a purge of everything pretty much but my Turtles boxes. And then I still keep all my X-Men and Spider-Man VHS style packaging too. But once I started throwing stuff out, it's gotten easier and easier. And now that I'm just down to like, because those Super 7 boxes, I don't need them at this point. Like I still have like all the hard shippers for them with the regular boxes
I do too,
inside
yeah.
of them. And I know I'm never going to sell my turtle stuff. And if you do sell your stuff, if you're going to sell in bulk online anyway, the balance with shipping will probably almost even out with the boxes, honestly. So I feel like I've sold a lot of action figures and hardly any of them with the boxes. And I still feel like I've done pretty well.
Yeah, I mean, probably. The only reason why is people might be more likely to want to buy it if it's complete in box than if it's not. But I know I'm never selling my Super 7 figures. I'm pretty positive I'm never selling my NECA figures, but you never know. Someday I might be living under a bridge and I have no other option. So, yeah, knock on wood. But
I always think if something catastrophic were to ever happen, like I think about the order in which things would go and what would be left.
Me too. Like Playmates OG is the last to go.
Yeah,
that is going.
That and the NECA Toon liner, what it would come down to for me, I think for sure, and maybe Super 7 and neither of those. It would be the other option. So yeah, I don't know.
I think it would go for Turtles because I have like He-Man and all this other crazy shit. But if I was just doing Turtles, Archie would be the first to sell. Then I hate to say it, maybe Toon already. Then NECA movie, then Super 7, then Vintage. I think is the order I would sell them in. But it's never happening though.
No, hopefully. A lot of other things can go first. So
yeah, realistically, I should just sell fucking Scratch and then call it a day. But
yeah, right. That'll freaking at this point, man.
Just sell Hotspot, Scratch, and Shogun Show, and there you go. But
right, freaking half my salary for the year right there. So shifting comic gears here, we'll hit up the IDW figures next, and their IDW line is really Last Ronin line, so they're really starting to sink their teeth into this, and this is like the most figures we've been shown for this line by far. They showed off a lot of figures, and it's cool that we're getting every single one of the Turtles in their past forms, Casey, and I'm really glad that they're rounding out this line too, because I think I'm probably going to be close to all in on this line as well. I think people said the Sinja just started shipping today, and I did get that from Best Buy. So I really like these figures a lot.
Cool. And it's good for you because there's 2 Raphs. So.
Right. Okay, so that's the one thing. I'm not going to get the Battle Damage Raph, and I'm still on the fence about the Cry. I don't know if I'm going to get that Cry. I really don't like that Cry.
I don't blame you. That Cry figure is pretty ugly. I got to say, I love the Last Ronin. Splinter looks fucking awesome.
He looks cool, and I like that he's a little bit bigger. As weird as I like the Mirage Splinter for being so small, it's cool that this is like a bigger size Splinter, which we haven't really gotten a lot of.
I think if I'm only going to get, if I were to only get 2 of those, it'd be Donnie and Splinter, I think.
I feel like that'd be a good combo too, since they're comicless together. So like, I feel like that would just be a good, if you were just going to get 2, a good set to get.
Exactly. I do have to say though, I don't love Casey Jones's design.
I just don't like the short hair. It didn't bother me as much in the comic, but seeing it in action figure form, like Casey just doesn't feel like Casey without long hair. I don't know. It's off-putting for sure.
I agree, and I guess some people could argue like, oh, well, he doesn't have long hair for the vintage toy in the Super 7, but it's like he's got that crazy.
It's still scragglier, exactly. Like it just, I don't know. It has, it's just not. He looks like a responsible adult, and I don't like that.
Yeah. Like even when you first see Mirage, he doesn't have like the long hair, but he has the shaggy, like just messed up hair. And yeah, that's what I don't like him looking like a responsible adult. He looks like some guy who'd be doing my taxes wearing a fucking hockey mask for some reason. It just doesn't work. Like you see this maniac swinging baseball bats with a hockey mask on, but then he's like all like well kept and stuff underneath there. And that's what I thought was so dumb about what was his name? Steve Amell, or the guy who played him in Out of the Shadows, is like they just got the prettiest fucking dude you could possibly get with like buzzed hair and like model face and all this shit to play Casey Jones. It's like, who the fuck is this dude? I want Casey Jones. Like I want him to have a dirtbag mullet, and I want him to have like a fucking just like a crazy ass like dirtbag face. Like I just want him to look like trailer trash. That's what I want my Casey Jones to look like.
That's why I always like Elias Codius's portrayal of him because he's just chilling up on that roof. Like, what's he doing up there? Does he live there? Is he just hanging out there? What's he doing on that roof? Those are the kind of questions I like to ask about Casey.
Yeah. Not only is he on the roof, but he's looking through binoculars and shit.
Right?
Too.
What the fuck's he up to up there?
Like, you peeping on girls or something? What the fuck are you doing? But that's how I want my Casey to look. I want Casey's got to, like, his physical appearance has to portray some of his unhinged nature. And I know in the Ronin, he is more of a responsible adult. Yeah. Like, he's getting married. But I don't know. He's got to have a little bit of savageness to him, and I don't feel any savageness from that. Again, like you said, I didn't really notice it in the comic, but once they translated that into figure, I'm like, that's a boring action figure when I saw it.
Yeah, really, to me, they're not boring, but it just feels off. It just feels weird for a Casey figure.
Yeah, for sure.
Because I like all their armor and stuff. Like, I do like how they all kind of have that, like, that. Other than Donatello, I think they all have a figure with that armor on them.
I think so.
Yeah, so it's weird that the Donatello is just different. I never really thought about that either, but I guess that was a different point in the timeline. No, that was.
Well, he's more bundled up with, like, baggy pants and everything because he's in the snow. So
yeah.
So like he didn't. Even though they brought weapons because they were expecting a fight, they weren't going there necessarily to fight. They were going there for a peace treaty. So It was like, it's a little different than, like, Leo and Raph went out in battle and stuff. So
yeah. And I like, I think he comes with, was he holding the umbrella? Is that, no, or is it one of them was holding an umbrella. Was it their business suit Casey, or was it that Casey that had an umbrella for a weapon?
Oh, I don't remember, actually. We'll talk about Business to Casey later. But
I'm very excited for that. So, yeah.
We got a Last Ronin accessory pack, I think, is coming out because they said that the busted Fugitoid wasn't a figure. It was an accessory. Yep. So,
which would make sense because it literally is. Like, I mean, I guess you could make full parts for him, but he was completely, like, pretty much missing an arm and a leg, and he looks super beat up on the side. But I'm very interested to see what all will come in this accessory pack, because I guess Fugitoid would kind of be like the big fill of it, but I don't know. I don't really know what they could put in here to make it lucrative for me, honestly.
Yeah, I mean, I guess, like, if you want to do the Baby Turtles Toon pack as an equivalent, he'd be like the Big Mac of that pack, I guess.
You know what's gonna come in? The Lost Years Turtles, probably. But when they're babies, that's what it's gonna be.
That's true. Probably. I would say you're probably going to get a separate Fugitoid head that, like, because, April has his head. You're probably going to get that. Maybe even with April, she might come with that. I'm kind of surprised some of the characters we haven't gotten so far. I don't believe we've had, like, Casey Marie or Hiroto shown off yet, but I could be wrong.
Well, have they even shown in April? Did they actually show the April, or did they just tease it?
I believe she was shown. She was definitely set. No, she was shown, I believe, back in April.
Yeah, because that was the big reveal for the April, I think.
Yeah. But we haven't heard anything about, I believe we haven't heard anything about Casey Marie or Hiroto, which those are major characters.
Yeah.
So I'm kind of surprised we haven't gotten them. But yeah, I think you're right. The accessory pack with the 4 baby new turtles will probably come with the Fugitoid.
Yeah.
We haven't gotten Baxter either.
Oh, yeah. So, and again, it's not like they're going to blow their whole wad right off the bat. So it looks like they are trying to go pretty deep with it. But they still have another comic line as well. So the Archie line is really blowing up too. And this is one, I have the Slash, because I haven't ever read the Archie comics. So I'm not like, there's no nostalgia in it for me. So a lot of them are easy passes. But I can't deny that this line looks just as good as all the other ones. Like, they're knocking it out of the park from every angle.
Yeah, I think, honestly, the way they do the black deco on the Archie figures looks more like how I wish they would do it on the Toon figures. I think it looks a little cleaner, a little nicer, a little more well applied. I think the Archie figures look really good. We got a handful of them shown off. I know one everyone's crazy about is these wrestler turtles. That was a big reveal. I remember always seeing Raph in the black. I believe he was like that for a while in the comics, but I don't know what I don't get the reference with these wrestling turtles. I don't know.
No,
the
exactly.
genre they're referencing.
What's weird about this is this will be the first Turtles 4-pack that I won't go in on. And it's going to be very fun to watch everybody else go nuts and just not have that anxiety at all when it comes out.
Yeah, I'm definitely not going in on it. I am collecting the Archie line, but I'm not like a completionist for the Archie line. Like they teased the April turtle back in April also, and I'm not going to get that. And I'm not going to get the Turtle 4-pack. I don't know if I'm getting Belly Bomb.
See, and this is I didn't even know who the hell that guy was.
I've seen him before, but I'd never read it. Like I said, like I've only read probably like 6 Archie comics in my life, if even that. Like 5 or 6 Archie comics in my life. And I don't know who he is. I know I've seen him before somewhere. I just can't tell you where I saw him. And that is a weird fucking figure. But...
So, okay. Were you into skateboarding or friends with anybody that was into skateboarding in like the early 2000s?
No, I played the Tony Hawk games. That was about it.
Okay, well, have you ever seen Toy Machine skateboards?
No.
Their mascot looks very, very, very similar to that. Very like Ed Templeton's like a very abstract, weird ass artist, and that's like what his art looks like, is weird ass shit like that.
Oh, okay. Yeah, he looks like a tattoo came to life or something. Yep. He looks crazy. I don't know if I'm gonna get him because I just have like no real knowledge of that character. He's a cool idea, especially since they said in the final version the eye is going to be articulated and
the jaw's articulated too.
Yeah, I don't know how that's going to work unless the whole torso bends back or something, but that's going to be cool unless like the jaw goes into the pants or maybe, I don't know, but
I bet it'll recess back into him like a Pudgy Pig.
Oh, maybe
kind of like that.
Maybe like that. Yeah, it's a cool figure though. Like, even though it's a character I have no connection to, it's cool and I like it because it kind of does remind me of crazy shit like Mutagen Man and Worm and stuff. Like, it's just this weird ass character. But we're getting Archie Mondo, which I wasn't actually expecting to get this soon because I know Mondo's a very popular Turtles secondary character, and he's usually one of the first to get included. Like, I'm certain he's going to be playable in Shredder's Revenge. But I always thought the Archie design looked so much like the 87 design or the toy design, just like in like the Archie style, that it wasn't until I saw a figure from them like, oh yeah, I guess he does look really different in the comics actually.
So because I've seen him in the Archie comics before too, and I was in the same boat as you. I thought he looked pretty similar, but this is one of the coolest action figures of all the reveals as well. I'm definitely gonna get that figure. Like, he just has like such a cool skater stonery look to him. Like he literally looks stoned. Like he looks so fucked up. Cool.
Yeah.
I'm definitely gonna get that figure. They killed that one.
They did. The expression. I wonder if he comes with an alt head or like alt eyes, because Dreadmon had like alt eyes where you could like take the goofy eyes out and then put on like the angry. I have the angry eye one, but
interesting.
I think they did that with Jaguar too. I don't have Jaguar yet. I want him, but yeah, I think they might do that. But he looks perfect the way he is right now. Like, he looks like Spicoli from like Fast Times at Ridgemont High. Like, yeah, that's definitely, I think, it was a big one that I think they kind of glossed over. They didn't really focus on it much, but I thought that was actually a pretty big reveal.
Yeah, I did too. Because again, for not even really being into this line, like that sucked me right in. I'm like, I'm absolutely getting that figure.
The only thing I'll say is kind of weird is he looks big, and I don't think he was that big in the Archie comics. I believe for the Mutanimals, I think he was on the shorter side, if I'm not mistaken. But I think all we need is Leatherhead, and then they got all the Mutanimals.
Because who was it? Ray Fillet, Mondo,
yeah, Jaguar, Dreadmon, and I think Leatherhead. I think that was it.
Was there a female character in there? Am I crazy?
There was a fox, but I don't think she was part of the Mutanimals. I could be wrong. There's one thing I always found a little boring is anytime comics do like new Turtles characters, the mutants are always just like cats and dogs. There's so many cats and dogs. Like Dreadmon's a dog, Jaguar's a cat, the girl's a dog, and then like, Hobbs a cat and Alopex is a dog, and it's just like they always do like all these
Well, I
dogs.
mean, technically it's a fox, and technically like they're tigers and cougars, but yeah.
They're the kind of animals Disney would make cartoons about back in the 60s
Right.
and shit. And it's like when I come to the Ninja Turtles, I want like snakes and alligators and cockroaches and crazy shit like that.
Yeah.
But yeah, like there's a lot of cool ones. I really want they got to make Armagon for Archie. And I really want the Chameleon. He's like a detective, but like a chameleon.
Oh,
And
I think he's on a cover maybe that's made to look like the Raph Micro series. Am I imagining that right?
I know of 2 comics he's in. I read the first one he's in. I don't remember what the cover looks like. There's one where he's like disguised as like a pharaoh tomb, like a sarcophagus, like on the cover. But yeah, he was one of the early New Mutants. Like I think it's in like the first few issues. Like I want to say like issue 5 or 7 or something. Already is the one with the chameleon, the first one with the chameleon. But he's a character I always wanted to be like in like Turtles toy lines and stuff, and just never was. So if they make him, I'll definitely get him.
Yeah. So I think we're at the tail end of this here, ending with which is usually our heavy hitter. So out of all the lines, I mean, I know you just said you'd probably saw your movie stuff last, but we both consider the Toon line to be the main line that we collect, and it usually is the star of the show. And I'm not gonna I want to start off by saying I don't think that the announcements were bad by any means, but without a doubt, it looks like we're kind of getting into the twilight of the Toon line because there was hardly any new original figures revealed. I think they had the Evil Rex one, and there was another one. What was it, right?
Well, there was the gigantic Krang.
The gigantic Krang, but we've already had a Krang, but we'll talk about that gigantic Krang in a little bit.
Who else have we had? Did we get?
I feel like there was one other original character, and I can't think of what it is now. Maybe they're not, but I mean, that's just the point I'm trying to make is it was mostly turtle variants and other stuff we'd already seen before, like the sewer layer and the van, which we saw the retooled van for the first time, which is pretty cool. But
yeah,
I don't know. Like I said, I think all the figures look great, but I do just feel like this line is winding down and it's doing the same thing the Playmates line did, to where now we're just going to get a bunch of turtle variants because they're probably selling really well and a lot less of the original characters going forward. Because I feel like the last couple of years of figures probably didn't do the best for them.
I think so. I think unfortunately, everything I said back at Holothon is kind of coming true. Everything I thought was going to happen back at Holothon, where I said, judging by the characters we're getting now and how abundant the small thug and tall gangster and stuff were, and I think it was the other way around, but how abundant they were, and people weren't really picking them up, or people weren't really picking up Jersey Red. Some people weren't even picking up Lotus and Shakahachi. I was saying, I think we're getting to a point where they're reaching characters that the diehards are still jumping in on, but there's no more people who are just kind of sort of diehard collecting. And there's not a lot of casual collectors anymore and stuff, because then they're just getting too deep now, where I think there's still an appeal for mutant characters. I think mutants will always sell better. Hence why I think Mona Lisa sold better than most of the packs that came out at Holothon. She was one of, if not the only mutant that came out at that time. And Rex 1 was even still abundant, which he's a fan favorite.
Yeah.
But I think when you just start getting to robots and gangsters and aliens, that's the lions and tigers and bears of the Ninja Turtles 87 series, just robots and whatever I just said. Yeah, robots, gangsters, and aliens. Oh my! You get to those, and it's I think a lot of people don't remember which one's which. They don't really necessarily even remember these characters the same way we didn't remember Electro Zapper, and we saw his episode multiple times. There just comes a point where you reach your breaking point. It's I can't remember every single thing these artists ever drew, and I think unfortunately those are some of the only characters they have left, are these ones that people haven't, that these ones that nobody remembers or nobody really cares about. and they're really running out of characters. I think it's really starting to show, and they're really starting to dig into the variants, like the sublines now. And one thing I predicted that I think I'm right about is I said I was predicting a lot more of these what if figures where like they're just like random themes. And the Samurai Mike and Space Cadet Raph and stuff, Space Cadet Don, really kind of like further prove that, I think.
Yeah, so I think that's the future of the line. I think they're going to really hone in on the turtles and these variants because without a doubt, if you put out a turtle figure, they go like gangbusters. Like turtle sets don't sit. If they do these ultimate figures, those are going to fly because then they don't even have the price point barrier either to where some people are going to be like 150, I can't swing this right now. But if you have these figures for $35, people are going to grab multiples of them probably.
Yeah, probably. And I mean, they can milk that for a long time before people get sick of it.
I think so too. Because honestly, these Turtles figures they're making, they look great. Like I think that Samurai figure looks really cool. The Space Cadet one's all right. I like the Space Usagi more than the Space Adventure Donatello for sure. But the Samurai figure, that one kind of came out of left field, and I really like that one.
Yeah, I was wondering why they did Samurai Mike. That seemed like a weird choice. But honestly, when you think about it, they did a Space Cadet and a Samurai. Are they going to do a Surfer and an undercover turtle? I guess they already did Turtles in Disguise, but they're basically doing all of the original Turtles in Disguise figures. I don't know if someone other than Mike is the Surfer that they fucked up,
right?
But I do think the Usagi one looked better, but I don't want to get too off the tune line. But there actually is a sideline we have to talk about real quick that I think is awesome. I think you're going to love, but I think it's a bit of a bummer in some way too. So they said in celebration of Year of the Rabbit, they're doing these 4 like comic inspired Usagi figures.
Yeah, and it's going to be a 4-pack. They actually said it's going to end up releasing. They're going up for pre-order this year. When they said going up for pre-order, because they also mentioned a lot of other things that are going right up on the NECA website, like the accessory packs going back up on the NECA website. So I'm hoping they do an open pre-order for these things on their website because I definitely want that 4-pack. It has a real Space Usagi in it. So the Space Adventure Usagi is the classic Usagi in a different outfit to where Space Usagi is a completely different character. So it's really cool that they're doing that version too. And then they're doing like the old school, like younger style Usagi when he's like little kid, he's got little beady eyes and stuff. Yeah. So, and then they got one in like a samurai get up. So I'm very excited for that 4-pack.
I like all the little spots he comes with too. He comes with like a spot buddy for everyone. But I think the reason I say it's a bit of a disappointment is because it's just further doing the thing that anytime someone does Usagi figures, it's just Usagi. They never do any of the other characters.
And I feel like this is a time, though, where somebody might actually be realizing the value of Usagi, and I don't think that's ever happened before. Like, anytime he gets a one-off figure, he might get, like, a couple variants in it, but even then, he'll get, like, one figure, and that's it. So, I don't know. I think there's a chance that we could possibly get, like, Jen or someone else like that at some point.
All right, cool. Because, I'm not familiar with who those characters are.
Jen's the Rhino. He's like the most common ally of them. And then now he has Yukichi, which is his cousin, and he's another rabbit. So that might be one they go down to.
I was going to say, I'm pretty sure there's a Rhino. I'm pretty sure there's a Fox Girl, if I'm not mistaken.
Probably. I mean, he's got tons of homies that pop in and out all the time.
But yeah, it's just like Turtles. There's a whole arsenal of these crazy, wacky anthropomorphic characters. So I think, like, again, like you're much more into it than I am, but I think it's a toy line they should definitely do.
Yeah, me as well. And I just said that in my top 10 video too. It is cool that, and also that it's branching away and not just being Turtles. Like Usagi is being its own thing, and Stan Sakai is doing art and getting his recognition as well.
Yeah, because I think in the West, unfortunately, a lot of people just look at Usagi as a Ninja Turtle add-on.
Yeah. Which he definitely is not. He's got a pretty diehard fan base. But getting back to like the actual figures that were shown off. So number one, best one for me, that freaking business suit Casey. I'm so stoked they're doing that figure.
I'm so happy that because anytime I go back and watch that show, as soon as I watch as an adult, that is one of the things that just cracks me the fuck up the most is like the turtles send him in to infiltrate this office building because they can't go in because they look too weird. So then he goes in, but he keeps the fucking hockey mask on, and he's just
And has his weapons, I'm pretty sure, with him.
he just looks like a maniac. But he's like this big maniac in a hockey mask with weapons on his back, and he's just wearing a business suit. That's that no one finds it fishy that he's there.
And he gets the job. He gets the job.
And I love that you can take the jacket off.
Yeah.
You can take the blazer off, and he has different arms you can put on. So he's just wearing the white button down, like business casual outfit underneath. But that's an awesome. I'm not like usually huge on alts, but like that is an alt.
That's a great one, exactly. Because that's like a Comic-Con exclusive style figure. I feel like, you know what I mean. That's like a really off variant, but it's a really cool variant.
Yeah, it's a ton of fun. I think the alt that everyone's probably the most excited for is the giant Krang.
So I feel like that was the star. Like they showed off the party wagon and it's retooled and cool looking, but that giant Krang kind of came out of nowhere, I feel like. And that is going to be like the centerpiece of the collection, in my opinion, as far as figures go.
Yeah, definitely. Because you can see there they had the Rex ones, like not the Rex ones, the Rex 2, 3, 5, 4, whatever the fuck. Yeah. You have the evil Rexes, and they were all like at his like what they were like a little above his knee or something. Like he's huge.
So I think they said he's 20 inches, and I think the quarter scale figures are 18, if I'm not mistaken. So he'll be a little bit bigger than the quarter scale turtles.
He is. He does have the little antenna on his head. I don't know if they were counting that or not.
Might, so yeah.
But yeah, he's gonna be a big boy, and I mean that's cool because that was like in season 1 that already happened.
Yeah.
So that's a really, even if you just wanted to have a whole shelf that was just season 1. You could have that as the centerpiece of that shelf and then have all the thugs on the bottom and stuff. And yeah, that's a really cool one, but I don't know if I'm going to actually get him.
Man, I feel like that is one, if you see it in store, there's no way you're going to carry it around with you and talk to it or talk about it in your head the whole time. You're going to be like, should I do this? Should I do this? Like, I can't imagine how cool it will be to see that thing in hand when it comes out.
It's going to be amazing, but I've come close to getting some of the quarter scale figures before, but I dropped out because there was too much money on a single figure. So I don't know if I'll have that kind of willpower with Krang, but because also the quarter scales, they don't scale with the rest of the toy line. The Krang canonically does scale with the rest.
Exactly.
Of the
That's why if you were going to get something that big, that would be a good one-off thing to get.
Yeah. I think I'm going to get them because you know what I just did? I just looked at a corner right next to my NECA collection, right next to the blue. He fits right in there.
Right there.
He's going there. I'll probably get him. But I have to say that the NECA line is reaching a point of the Toon line where I was in Target last week and they had the Napoleon, the like mutated giant Napoleon, extra mutated Napoleon. And I looked at him and I was holding on to it for a second. I asked someone there, can I get a price check on this? Because he was in a section that said $6.99. I'm like, if you $6.99, I'll buy 50. But they did a price check, and it what is he like $60 or something like that? It was like
$49.99. There, him and Rex, not Rex. What was the other big figure that came out at the same time as
Zog?
him? What's that? Zog, yeah.
Wait. Okay, he was over. I think he was 54.
Oh, he was $49.99. I know that at my store.
He was $54.99. Then with tax, he'd basically be $60. He'd be like $58. We already talked about 55 being too expensive for Super 7 figures. And this is a NECA figure. It's he's a big bulky dude, but like very limited deco, very simplistic. Even like the white on his eyes was like chipped on his nose and everything. Yeah. And I'm looking at it, I'm like, I can't justify spending almost $60 on this guy. And I put him down. I didn't get him. That's one of the first times I've seen like a new NECA figure in stores. And just like NECA Toon figure and just put it down because of the price. So I can feel it happening to me. The line's slowly losing me. I'm starting to.
So the I'll play devil's advocate here. So the difference there, though, is we had both talked about that. That's not even an episode to where we remember, but the giant Krang is from the first season, which is baked into our brains and hearts. So
exactly. I don't know. I don't remember that freaking big Napoleon at all. Honestly, I remember the big Leonardo that he keeps mutating to in the fucking season 8.
Yeah, that's stands out more to me too.
Yeah. So it's like I don't have any connection to that. But yeah, Giant Krang. I mean, I honestly, the Giant Krang was so memorable to me that I was convinced that happened like every season or something as a kid. Like the way I remembered it is like, oh yeah, anytime Krang shows up, he grows, he gets the big suit. And it's like, no, that doesn't happen that often, actually. Like, but the way I remembered it as a kid is like that's like Krang's move. He grows huge.
Right.
So I mean, even in like the games, like Turtles in Time, he grabs the Statue of Liberty and he's like blasting you with the eye lasers and stuff. So it's like that Giant Krang was always.
That's why the video games is probably why. Then that makes a lot of sense.
And I mean, I just saw that fifth episode so many times that like, yeah, it's just. That's a very memorable part. You're right. I probably will have to buy that when I see that one in stores, especially now that I'm looking at the spot where he fits snugly.
I feel like I'm gonna have to talk into that one. I feel like that's gonna be one you regret if you don't get it. So I'll definitely be on you hard around that time.
I think you're right. I appreciate that. We're also getting. I feel a little bad for loyal subjects because we're getting the rapper turtles now.
Yeah,
we're getting like the street turtles,
and they look phenomenal, man. They look so damn cool.
I love the stupid ass grin on Mike's face is like exactly taken from a frame of the cartoon. There's a point where there's an up close of his face and he has the stupidest. It's like Donkey Kong. It is
literally just cheese, man.
Yeah. And they captured that so well in the figure, and they look phenomenal.
Very excited for those, and I'll definitely probably still get the Ultimates too because that freaking whirling bow staff attachment for Donatello, that thing is the tits, man.
How is that being released? I actually wasn't.
They're going to be single releases in the VHS style packages.
Of the 4 turtles?
Each of them's going to have their own, yeah. Wait, what are you talking about? The Ultimates?
Yeah.
Yeah, the Ultimates are going to be individual releases.
But just the original turtles, though, right?
Yes.
I kind of wish they did that years ago. Right. Like, I already have all the standard turtles. I can't see buying them again, but yeah, I love that twirling bow staff.
Because that's the way you get people that already have them in, is just offering something that you really want, even though you don't need the figure.
Yeah. And I mean, how many times can you repackage those same turtles? They did the original one where it was them versus a villain. Then they did the 2 packs of the turtles where they were the style guide colors. Then they released them in the Turtles of the Skies where they came with the soft goods. Then they released them in the Style Guide 4-pack. It's like they keep putting out those original turtles, and it's cool to make them available, but I just can't see buying them again just to get a cool accessory personally.
And so it really is like, because if you want the line to succeed, you do have to have the turtles coming back round all the time. And now that they're doing so, like, that was the nice thing about when they did the disguise turtles the first time, is you could just take off the disguises and then you had the regular turtles, to where now with these versions, the feet are sculpted on. I think the head sculpts are permanently on with the glasses. So like you can't sub these as your regular turtles. And they always need to have that offering on the table for new collectors, I feel like.
Yeah, I guess so. Though if you're a serious enough a collector, you're not going to want it unless it's like the issue 1 version. Like
right.
You're like, oh, I need the original release, not the re-release. Even though the re-release will probably become the more expensive one in time. But yeah, I don't know. When you get to the point where you're just re-releasing the figures, and again, like the Punk Turtles are awesome, Rapper Turtles, whatever you want to call them, they're awesome. The What If Turtles are awesome. The Business Casey is awesome. The Giant Krang is awesome. But like you said, these are all just variants of characters. These are all just like characters we already have dressed up in a different costume or something.
Yeah. And that's why I said, like, I don't think these offerings are bad by any means. I'm just a little disappointed that we might not get some of my personal favorite deep cuts, which again it's nobody else might want the figures that I want either. And everybody has their own personal favorites and stuff. So I get why the figures aren't moving as well. It makes sense to me, but it is just a bummer because, like we've always said, that is the strongest thing with this line, is that it's just deep. And it's going to be, I think it's going to be the definitive Turtles line as far as characters go forever at this point. I can't see any line coming along that's going to go deeper than this one did.
Me neither. Just let you know, we've gone over 2 hours. Is that okay?
So it's still going, so I'm assuming it's okay.
Okay,
It
cool.
still says live on my screen, so.
Yeah, that's on mine too. All right,
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah, and I might have read it wrong. And also, I think I have the next step up too. I could be wrong, but I might. I don't know, but it's working, so yeah, it's fine.
All right. Yeah, I think it's pretty clear at this time that I'm probably not getting my Ray and Murdude 2-pack. I don't think that's happening.
I feel like Tempester is almost a guarantee that they're going to have, and same with they already teased April's aunt on packaging, and same thing with what's his
Mr.
Pee Wee
Og.
Herman. Yeah, so
Mr. Og and the bunny rabbit. I thought for sure we'd see some of those guys.
Yeah. And again, they still might be playing some stuff close to the chest too, because they had way more stuff to show this year for the other lines than they ever have before. So maybe that was just also their idea, is kind of like spreading the love a little bit more at Comic-Con, and maybe not having the comic line be the hero of the show like it usually is.
I think I think part of that strategy is inevitably, though, like they're like, we can give the other line some love this year because we know we're running out of hard hitters for the Toon line. So, I mean, I was expecting again, like Mr. Og and April's aunt and, maybe Ray or something. But I think if they showed those off, people wouldn't have gotten that excited anyway. So the Rex ones, I mean, they're not directly just a repaint. Like the faces are a little different and stuff, but they're more or less just a retooling.
Yeah.
It does seem like we are reaching the end of the line. I think
so too. And like I said, it's kind of a mixed bag, but at the end of the day, it was never going to last forever. And it's not like it's just going to drop dead. Like it'll probably just keep trickling out figures slowly but surely. And who knows, maybe like if they do rebrand to these what if figures, like they could do some really cool shit. I mean, look what they've done with the Universal line. Like they've proved that they can do cool original stuff. So I'll see where it goes. I'm definitely not going to be like, oh, I'm getting out of the line if they get away from it. But it's definitely been a sweet ride. Like you can't deny it. Like we've gotten some cool shit. So I'm nothing but happy as far as this line goes, even if it ended right now.
That's a fair way to be. I agree. And honestly, if they do start doing the what if stuff, there's some really exciting stuff they could do.
Yeah.
I've talked about it before. I know no one else on earth knows about it or gives a shit about it, but like the original toy commercial for Wave 4, they had like little animated segments, and they had an animated design for Worm, like how he would look if he was in the cartoon. Yeah. If we got that what if, like toy commercial Worm, like I would buy that in a heartbeat. That'd be awesome.
Well, he's an Archie character too, isn't he? Does he look the same in the Archie, or does he look different?
No, in Archie, he's like a giant yellow blanket with a face.
Okay, gotcha. Like a tapeworm.
Yeah, he's like a flatworm, and he has like a weird like tongue that has like a little ugly tongue.
Okay, yeah. So I mean, that would be really cool. Then I would definitely go in on that if they just did a regular animated style worm.
Yeah, if we started getting stuff like that, like maybe even then, like, oh, here's what we think Pizza Face would look like if he was in the cartoon and stuff like that, would actually breathe some life into the cartoon for me, I think. And yeah, I mean, regardless, even if they don't do that, even if it fizzles out and in 2 years they're not doing anything, they're just ended the whole line, I'd still be happy with what they gave us.
Yeah.
All right. Well,
I think did we hit it all?
I think we got everything.
News only episode are going to be one of our longest episodes.
We probably missed a couple things, I'm sure.
We had to have. I mean, yeah, it was just so much shit. Like I said, we just filled 2 hours with nothing but news.
And I mean, next week we're gonna have a lot to talk about because Mutant Mayhem's finally coming out.
Yeah,
so
it'll be, like I said, I feel like this has been like the pinnacle of what we've been building up to since we've started. We started talking about it episode 1. We've talked about it pretty much every episode. So it's just cool that it's finally happening. I'm very excited, and it's just gonna be cool that we'll just have so much shit to talk about next time.
We're gonna have a lot. There's still so much stuff coming. There's still the last Ronin video game and DLC for Shredder's Revenge and the new Netflix show that's going to come out. We can just cover every episode as it comes out unless they drop them all at once. And so much
Netflix, so they probably will. So
Probably. They're probably going to drop them all at once. But yeah, there's a lot to talk about. So
Yeah, like I said, I think this is a pinnacle moment for Turtles, but I don't think it's just going to drop off the face of the map in 2024. I think we're going to be riding high for a while.
yeah, maybe by like 2028, no one will give a shit about Ninja Turtles. But right now, it's this. I've heard some other people say it too. There's some people saying that this might be the closest to Turtle Mania that we've had since Turtle Mania.
I think so too. I think this is, if there's ever going to be a true second coming, like this is it. And with the animated series coming to TV, like all this other crap going on, if they get a AAA video game that does well, like, I don't know, man, it's just a good time.
Yeah. I just want Turtle Pies back.
Right.
Just want to try one more. Like,
I'm pretty sure you could buy a jar of the filling somewhere in recent time. I think I saw that going around.
I've seen. Oh yeah, you're right. Shit, it was like a peanut butter jar, but it had the filling and it had like the crumbled pie with the green icing, like broken up into it. And you eat it with a spoon and give yourself diabetes in 5 minutes. But I just want the pie. I want it like actually as the pie. I want it looking the way it did. I want the package with Raph holding it, giving a cheesy thumbs up and everything. That's what I want. Let's just get down. We got Ecto Cooler back for the revival of Ghostbusters. Let's get Turtle Pies back for the revival of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
Right.
That's all I want. All right.
I think we covered it then. I think we got it all.
Yep. So next week, Mutant Mayhem.
Right. Hopefully we both drinking out of our collector's cups next time.
Exactly.
All right, man. Peace.
Peace.